The Galactic Union had gathered its fleets. Ships from 100 worlds floated in formation, shining like stars. They were preparing for the biggest threat the galaxy had seen in centuries of Varnak, a species that didn't talk, didn't negotiate, and destroyed everything in its path. Everyone was nervous. Everyone, except the humans. Among the giant alien battleships, one tiny craft arrived from Earth. It looked old, small, and unimpressive. It didn't carry flashy weapons. It didn't even have a big crew, just one pilot. Captain Arin. Alien commanders looked at the ship and laughed. Is this a joke? One whispered. Did Earth send a scout instead of a warship? Even the reporters covering the Union's movements mocked it. A popular broadcast said, Earth responds to war with a toy. No one took it seriously. After all, Earth was young, in galactic terms, still learning, still small. But Aaron didn't care. He sat quietly in his command chair, listening, watching. The other ships showed off their weapons and strength. Earth's ship remained still, silent, almost forgotten. Inside the ship, hidden under the pilot's console, a single message flashed. Systems locked. Awaiting threat level Varnak. No one noticed. No one asked what Earth had been doing in the shadows while the galaxy kept ignoring them. They thought Earth had sent its smallest ship to look brave, but Earth didn't send it to look brave. They sent it because it was the only ship that might survive. And soon, the galaxy would understand why. The battle hadn't started, but something strange was already happening. While the fleets of the Galactic Union moved into position, Earth's ship stayed perfectly still, floating quietly at the edge of the formation. Most commanders had already forgotten it was there. A few aliens still chuckled whenever they glanced at it. They sent one ship, they muttered. One small ship to face an empire. But inside that ship, things were changing. Captain Aaron sat with his hands resting lightly on the controls. His face showed no fear. He wasn't here to prove anything. He was here for one reason, and he was waiting for the right moment. The ship's AI, a calm voice named Iris, spoke softly. Power restrictions disengaged. Core temperature rising. Dimensional core is stable. Aaron didn't reply. He just nodded. Hidden from the Union's scanners, the ship's systems were awakening, not activating weapons, not raising shields. Something else. Something deeper. It was as if the ship had been asleep until now. Meanwhile, flashbacks began to play in Aaron's memory. Earth had not always been silent. Years ago, when the Varnak were still unknown, they had already touched Earth's borders. No one had listened. Earth didn't argue. Earth disappeared. They didn't ask for help. They prepared quietly, without noise. Earth had created a new kind of ship. A ship that didn't follow galactic rules. A ship that used folded space, quantum layers, energy designs no one else dared to test. Why? Because other species wanted to follow old traditions. But Earth had nothing to lose. So they built something completely different. Now that ship was waiting. As the Varnak ships began to appear at the edge of the star system, alarms started flashing across the Union fleet. Everyone rushed to positions. Orders were shouted. Fear spread. The enemy was close. But Earth's ship didn't move. Tracking 12 capital-class Varnak vessels. Iris reported. They are not detecting us yet. Orders, Captain Aaron's voice was calm. Wait until they attack, then we begin. Out in space, the giant Union ships looked impressive, full of flashing lights, energy cannons, and advanced shielding. But among them floated one silent, dark ship. The only ship that was completely ready. The moment everyone had feared finally arrived. The Varnak fleet dropped out of warp in complete silence. No warning, no signal. Their ships were enormous, dark, and covered in strange, glowing patterns. They didn't line up for battle. They simply arrived, and began to move forward. The Galactic Union fleet reacted quickly. Alarms blared across the channels. Lights flashed on bridges. Thousands of voices shouted at once. Every species had trained for this moment. Ships formed defense lines, energy shields activated, weapons locked onto targets. They had strength, they had numbers. But the Varnak didn't care. In the first minute, a wave of bright blue energy swept across the front line. 5 Union ships vanished without a trace. No debris, no explosions. Just gone. Panic spread like wildfire. Orders became confused. Ships began to pull back. And still, Earth's ship hadn't moved. Captain Aaron sat calmly, watching the chaos unfold. On his screen, the Varnak ships glowed brighter. Their weapons were unlike anything the Union had seen before. Iris, Aaron said softly. Status check. All systems ready. The AI replied. Dimensional core at 97%. Weapon calibration complete. We are unseen by Varnak sensors. Then it's time. Without warning, the human ship vanished. One blink, it was there. The next, it was gone. Union officers watching from their ships gasped. Where did it go? Before anyone could answer, a ripple appeared deep inside the Varnak lines. A strange distortion shimmered in space, like light bending around nothing. Then, a flash, clean, silent, perfect. One of the Varnak's largest command vessels simply folded in on itself and disappeared. Not exploded, not damaged, just erased. Silence followed. Even the Union commanders didn't speak. No one knew it. They had just seen. Then came a message, short, clear, from Earth's ship. First target neutralized. Continuing operations. The human ship reappeared, then vanished again. Each time it returned, another Varnock vessel went dark. The Galaxy had trained for war with lasers, shields, and brute force. But Earth had chosen something else. Precision, control, and silence. And now, that silence was the loudest thing in the battle, while others struggled to survive. One small ship moved through the stars like a shadow, with a purpose, a shadow that had waited for this moment. Asterisk across the command decks of dozens of species. Silence had taken hold. The most powerful armada the galaxy had ever formed was frozen not from orders, but from disbelief. They had just witnessed something no scanner could explain, no log could record. A Varnock warship, one of their largest, had vanished with no explosion, no trace, no escape pods. It was simply ... gone. And it was done by Earth's smallest ship. No one spoke, but minds were racing. What kind of technology was that? Was it a weapon? A black hole generator? A trap? Inside the human ship, Aaron didn't celebrate. He didn't even smile. His hands moved over the controls with quiet focus. To him, this wasn't the shocking part. This was just the beginning. Iris. The ship's AI continued her report calmly. Target signatures shifting. Varnock vessels attempting to isolate dimensional anomalies. They're learning fast, Aaron replied, but they're still thinking in straight lines. On a hidden panel, a strange interface pulsed with soft white light. This was not normal tech, not union grade, not it was something else. Designed not to fight harder, but smarter. Every calculation happened outside normal space. Every attack folded through reality itself. Flashbacks played in Aaron's memory again. Years ago, when the Varnock first reached Earth's outer colonies, no one in the galaxy responded. No help came. Earth had faced the first wave alone. And what? They learned from that silence. Changed them forever. Earth stopped following the galaxy's lead. While others built bigger weapons, Earth built quieter ones. While others focused on numbers, Earth focused on precision. They didn't want a fleet. They wanted a key, something that could enter any lock, any system, and shut it down from within. Now that key was being used. The Varnock ships, sensing a serious threat, began to shift tactics. Their formations spread. Decoys launched. Energy fields shimmered. They were adapting fast. But Earth's ship had already moved again. This time, it didn't vanish. It split into 6 mirrored versions of itself, confusing the sensors of every Varnock ship nearby. One illusion moved toward the center, another toward the left flank. On a distant Union cruiser, a commander shouted, "It's a trick. It's everywhere." But inside the human ship, the AI calmly said, "Mimic sequence successful. Real ship is now operating in stealth layer 3. Even the Union didn't know where Aaron truly was anymore. One by one, the illusions flickered out. But before they did, 3 more Varnock ships went offline. It wasn't brute strength. It wasn't heavy firepower. It was something worse for the enemy, at least. It was intelligence with purpose. For the first time in the battle, the Varnock paused. They didn't retreat, but they slowed, adjusted, measured. They weren't sure what they were fighting, and that's when the galaxy finally realized. This wasn't just a ship from Earth. This was Earth's answer to being ignored. Asterisk the stars felt quieter now, as if even space itself was watching. The Varnock fleet, once unstoppable, was hesitating. Their patterns slowed. Movements grew careful. This wasn't how they fought. The Varnock never paused, never analyzed, never feared. But now, they weren't sure what they were facing. Far in the distance, Earth's ship hovered alone. Still untouched, still silent. Inside, Captain Aaron stood, staring at a display only he could read. Lights blinked softly across strange controls. This wasn't ordinary technology. It looked like it was built with purpose beyond war. Like it had grown rather than been assembled. Iris, the AI, spoke again. Varnock ships regrouping. Estimated time to next wave, 92 seconds. They are preparing something new. I know, Aaron said quietly. They're going to use it now. And they did. Without warning, a surge of deep red energy pulsed from the center of the Varnock formation. It didn't aim at ships, it aimed at space itself. A wave that bent light, distorted time, and struck every sensor at once. Even Earth's ship shuddered. Iris? Aaron asked. Hull integrity holding? She answered. But dimensional balance is unstable. Recommend defensive retreat. Aaron looked ahead. The screen showed ripples forming in space, unstable and dangerous. This wasn't just a weapon. It was a message. The Varnock were responding seriously now, but retreat wasn't an option. Prepare final protocol, he said calmly. A moment passed. Then Iris replied, her voice softer than before. Final protocol will unlock Earth's signal. Are you sure? Aaron didn't answer immediately. He thought about the others. The commanders who laughed. The reporters who joked. The silence when Earth called for help. Now they were all watching. And Earth had a voice they hadn't heard before. Yes, he said at last. Let them hear it. A quiet tone echoed through the ship. Something deep unlocked, something old. Aaron placed his hand on a hidden panel. Symbols lit up, symbols no one in the galaxy had seen before. Outside, Earth's ship began to change. It didn't grow bigger. It didn't fire brighter weapons. It just started glowing softly, then stronger until even the Varnak sensors had to back off. The Union ships, scattered and damaged, began to receive a signal. A low hum, followed by words in every language. Earth answers now. And then it happened. The human ship moved faster than before, smoother than light. It passed straight through the enemy lines. No one could stop it. No one could track it. Second later, the entire center of the Varnak fleet darkened. Systems blinked out. Engines failed. Ships began to drift, not destroyed, just completely powered down. This wasn't destruction. It was control. It was quiet. It was human. And across every command screen in the Union fleet, one sentence appeared. This is Earth's final response. Watch carefully. Asterisk, the battlefield no longer looked like war. It looked like silence. The Varnak fleet, once the most feared force in the galaxy, was now scattered. Their ships floated, dark and still, like broken shadows in space. No fire, no motion. Just the soft echo of something they hadn't expected. Stillness. Across the Union fleet, crews stared at their screens in disbelief. Commanders who once mocked the small Earth ship were now silent. They didn't understand what had happened. No scans could explain it. No logs could match it. The human ship had moved through the enemy like a quiet wind, and everything had stopped. Captain Aaron sat in his chair, not celebrating. His hands rested on the console, his gaze calm. He wasn't here to prove power. He was here to show the truth. Iris, the ship's AI, spoke again. All Varnak systems neutralized. No further signals detected, awaiting instructions. For a moment, Aaron said nothing. He looked at the stars ahead, the drifting shapes of Varnak ships, and the thousands of Union vessels watching from a distance. Then he spoke softly, not just to Iris but to all of them. Let this be the last time Earth is underestimated. His words, simple and quiet, traveled through open frequencies. They echoed across every ship, across every species, and across every leader who once doubted Earth's place in the stars. The Union flagship sent a message back. It was just one sentence. Your message has been received. No grand ceremony. Followed no speeches. The human ship didn't return to cheers or lights. It turned slowly, its engines glowing with soft blue light, and began its journey home. But something had changed. The galaxy, once full of pride and politics, had seen something new, something it didn't understand but would never forget. And from that day forward, whenever someone spoke of Earth, they didn't speak of weakness or small numbers. They didn't laugh. They remembered the quiet ship, the silent strike in the moment the stars held their breath. Earth hadn't spoken loudly, but the galaxy had heard them anyway.